Hi, this is Jackie Grant, and I'm here with Scott Wolf for InsideSoCal.com/USC. And today we're going to do things a little differently on the blog. We're going to do a video mailbag where we answer questions from the readers of the blog. So, the first question is about the Oregon game. One of the readers wants to know, it did not seem like the USC was in traditional Tampa 2 defense. What defense did they play?
They played a lot of nickel defense. Monty Kiffin couldn't really use his Tampa 2 against the spread offense that Oregon utilized, and he had to use nickel most of the time. So that's not the defense he wants to play, but he's kind of forced out of his comfort zone because of these funky offenses he didn't see in the NFL, and he has to adjust to that, and Oregon did a pretty good job, obviously. But I actually thought the defense played pretty good, considering how good Oregon is, but the offense, I think, for USC faltered and didn't really give them enough support. So I don't really blame the defense, even though they gave up 50 points, as strange as that probably sounds to some people.
Yeah, well, it was Oregon. And speaking of the depth issues SC has been having this season, one reader wants to know if teams in the future are going to play SC kind of a close game up until the fourth quarter and then just try to outrun them in the fourth quarter because they have more depth.
Well, I don't know if you can do that intentionally. I mean, you can try, but it's more a case, I think, of teams just are deeper, and by the time you get to the fourth quarter, USC runs out of gas because they don't have as many players. It happened at Hawaii in the fourth quarter, happened against Washington in the fourth quarter, and then, you know, the second half against Oregon, you saw that in the fourth quarter. You know, Michael James went crazy in the fourth quarter. So, you know, that's kind of the issue. USC had 41 players on scholarship play in that game. And, you know, think of that. The average team has 85 scholarships. And they used 41 guys on scholarships. So that's what Lane Kiffin is up against this season, and, you know, through no fault of his own.
Yeah. And now looking to the future of SC, one of the readers thinks that SC is no longer the Pac-10 king, and it looks like maybe if Oregon wins this the Rose Bowl game this year, if they'll take over the Pac-10 king position, and if so, how will that affect SC's recruiting? Will Kiffin still be able to go out there and get the best talent?
Well, Oregon, you know, right now they are the king of the Pac-10, and, you know, they're in a good position to win the national championship right now. So I think, you know, that's not a disputable fact. You know, they're number one in the nation. But USC is still USC when it comes to recruiting, particularly at skill positions. I think they're going to get guys like George Farmer. He's a receiver at Sarah, teammate of Robert Woods, who's a freshman here, having a big season. They're always going to get the skill players. I think you're going to see where the key is going to be, can they get offensive linemen, linebackers, and then down the road defensive linemen. That's going to be the areas where Lane Kiffin's focusing on, because he's worried about those positions down the road when they get scholarship reductions and NCAA sanctions. But I've said before to people, you know, every team gets crushed by these sanctions when they're of this severe nature, but I think USC can weather it better than, say, even in Alabama, because they're in Los Angeles, a big population. You know, there's a lot of recruits out there. So if they're just smart on evaluation, I think they'll be able to stay respectable the next few years.
Yeah. Okay. And now one of the readers, or actually a few of them, had some issues with you saying that Barkley has not
with
had...
me? I can't imagine that. That's a first.
No,
let me adjust to that.
Just with your thoughts on Barkley not having a signature game. One of them thought it was last year's Ohio State game when he led the game-winning drive. What do you think that would qualify as?
I heard a lot of comments from readers this week because I wrote that I didn't think the Ohio State game was a signature victory. And by signature, I mean kind of a definable victory, you know, that everybody remembers. Matt Leinart had one when he beat Notre Dame in that big game with the Bush push, for example. I think Carson Palmer had one, or a couple. One was at UCLA where he went kind of flipping into the end zone on a run. And I don't personally feel like Barkley's game at Ohio State was a signature win because the offense really did little in that game. Chris Gallipo had an interception and returned it to the 1-yard line, and that's how they got one touchdown. He did a nice job on the last drive of the game, but Joe McKnight made a lot of big plays. Stephon Johnson scored the winning touchdown. So I just personally don't feel like that's a signature win. A lot of people feel differently, but that's the great thing about my blog is I can have one opinion and other people can have another opinion, and then, you know, can talk about it. But I still think, you know, he's had 20 college starts, and I still don't feel like he's had that win that everyone kind of can think about or rally around. So it's kind of, I don't know, I feel it's lacking on his resume right now.
Okay, but it's going to come eventually.
Well, we'll see. It could come against Notre Dame or UCLA, or actually could come in Tucson. That's going to be a really difficult game.
Yeah.
So we'll see. They've got, you know, tough games, Oregon State on the road, so he's going to have a lot of chances, I'll put it that way.
Okay. And what was Wes Horton's injury that kept him out?
He got kicked in the back by Nick Perry at Washington State. So he had like a bad back bruise for several weeks, and he's wearing like a plate now to protect him for games. But it was just a simple, inadvertent kick.
Okay. And now looking to the future, how do you think SC is going to finish the season out? What do you think their record will be?
I was talking to someone about that tonight. You know, right now they're 5-3. I think it's going to be tough to win at Arizona and Oregon State. Yeah. So that's 2 losses. That would be 5 losses. Now, to me, the key is going to be those Notre Dame and UCLA games. I think they'll be favored in those games, but they really got to make sure, especially the UCLA game, that doesn't turn into one of those 13-9 games like 4 years ago. So I see, you know, they're on a little tightrope right now, I think.
Yeah.
You know, if they can pull an upset in Corvallis, that'd be great. I think it's possible, but right now I see those 2 road games as losses, and they really got to finish out, you know, with wins over their traditional rivals. Otherwise, I think people are really going to be down about this season. So they got to salvage the season with 2 late wins. Okay,
in order to finish with a winning season.
And just to not have, like, the record's not going to be great,
you
know, if they lose 5-6 games. But if you, at least if you beat your arch rivals, I think the fans feel a lot better. Remember Pete Carroll's first year, 6-6, but all everyone remembers is they beat UCLA 27-0. So if you can do that, you can salvage things, and I think people will feel better about Lane Kiffin too.
Okay, well, thank you for answering all those questions. Thanks for sending them in, guys, and keep sending them in, and Scott will answer them for you. Thanks.